Yes, my people, I don't come again to update our mindset. Yes, now, me, I dey very happy. And I know why, because why? Finally, DSS don't arrest Asari Tokubo. She better tell us, make it take amazing, no one here. He said no, say I don't get the country. After all, and Godfather, now he did the Aso Rock. So no tell anybody go tell him when he go here. And say for that, he no go give any motherfucker respect. Say anybody when give him, he go give him back woto. Finally now, they don't arrest him. I know they dance this morning. Make una see as our country, this country, they useless rich. Very anyhow country. All the people when they commit crime, they inside their house, they inside their mansion, they relax, they drink juice, they get rest of mind. But meanwhile, other people when they be say yes, they go commit crime out of ignorance or in fact any little mistake where they make. People don't they watch they say yes, make them send DSS, go pick them. Whereas the people when they commit the atrocities, people when they brandish rifle for social media, for online video, they never ask those ones. People when they rain insult on everybody, they never ask those ones. So it can't be say now the people when they be say yes, they don't say if they hold them, nobody will talk about them. Now those people they go after. Mostly when it comes to anybody when support Labour Party or obedient movement, the person is finished. If he make any mistake, they go send DSS. Make I not talk too much. I better watch this video. Then you go know what they try to talk about. As you watch this video, if not your first time when they see me, follow my page and also subscribe to my YouTube channel so that they drop the update on a daily basis. You they get updated on a daily basis. As you watch this video now, I beg you in the name of God, make sure you go like, share, and comment so that other people they go see what they go on.
I recommended the piece by Onikepo Braithwaite, the editor of the lawyer section of this day newspaper, who today wrote a full-page piece titled Emefiele, that the rule of law may prevail. And we had pushed the argument that this is simply about the rule of law. The major issue that the lawyers supporting Emefiele are pushing is that, look, there have been 3 judgments of court in this particular matter saying that you either fight charges or you release this man. One ruling expressly said you can't arrest him, you can't detain him, because at the time, in 2022, it will send a wrong signal to the international community if you just pick up your CBN governor and then you lock him up. And without evidence, the first court in the matter said, if you have evidence, bring it. Don't go and arrest somebody and claim that you will be looking for evidence. Subsequently, there were other rulings, the most recent one on July 13, saying that, look, you have been keeping this man since June 10. If you have charges against him, file those charges. The same day, the DSS then told us through its spokesperson that, they had 5 charges. Now, when the document became public knowledge, it turned out that they were charging him for illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. They said they found, a Magnum 8317 with him, and then 23 cartridges of live ammunitions, and that he had no license in that regard. Now, the main point being submitted here is that there is a court order. Okay, you have charged him, fine. He is still entitled to bail under Section 162 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. If you look at the weight of the offense for which he is being charged, why is he not granted bail? Has he been arraigned in court? It's not enough to just, flaunt a charge sheet and say we have charged him. What is the status of it? And you can't keep keeping him. That is why those lawyers are now saying, look, this looks like an act of contempt. And they troop to the Federal High Court to file contempt proceedings at the registrar's office, at the registry of the court, to say, look, the DSS has a case to answer. And they went a step further, saying that President Tinubu, in fact, should remove Mr. Yusuf Bichi, in addition to the court committing him to, prison for contempt. So these are the issues. But the main point made by Onikepo Braithwaite that I was referring to, is that, okay, nobody is above the law, but allow the rule of law to play out. If a man is entitled to bail, let him have that bail. Under Section 35 of the law, there are provisions about fair hearing, even when a man has committed an offense. And in any case, you say you are charging him, part of the story is that you are charging him for terrorism and all of that. Yes, terrorism is an offense under the Terrorism Prohibition Act of 2015, Section 1 thereof. But where is the evidence that he was involved in terrorism? So, and I made the point, that look, since the matter is in court, we cannot jump to any conclusions, because some people will say, oh, deal with Emefiele, crucify him. He punished us by introducing Naira redesign. No, people should keep their emotions. And the safe thing we can just say is that we would like justice to be done, and that the DSS must follow due process. However, don't be surprised if tomorrow the DSS comes again and they say, oh, they want to amend their charges. Or they come again and they say, oh, they've secured another court order to continue to keep him. That's how our system operates. And it's not only Mr. Emefiele that is being treated this way. We have had other persons. After all, it's the same issue with regard to the head of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. His own lawyers too are saying, look, we have court order saying release him, but you don't want to release him. With the head of EFCC, Abdulrasheed Bawa, it's the same issue. His lawyers are saying, you can't just take a man and keep him permanently. If there are issues, let the people know and follow due process. But let's see how the DSS responds to this and the explanations that they are given. But the most important point is that the lawyers are saying President Tinubu himself should take a look at the matter so that he's not accused of vendetta, right? So that he's not accused of vengeance. And some people say, well, all of this is happening because the CBN governor went into politics. And I said, whatever it is, he did not act alone. The president of Nigeria, President Buhari, as he then was, had executive powers under Section 5. Under Section 19 and 20 of the CBN Act, the CBN governor cannot take certain decisions without recourse to the president, without securing the approval of the president. Absolutely. So these are some of the questions being raised. Yes. But, to summarize, we just hope that the rule of law will prevail. Right.
Over the weekend, Rufai, I spoke with SackHim Fushika, who, talked about the fact that even this firearm possession that the federal government has charged Emefiele, which, we saw that case over the weekend, is a fine of about 20,000 naira. I mean, this is the charge that they have against Emefiele. But I think the main bone of contention for me, Rufai, is this brandishing of assault a rifle. You see the group calling, Emefiele's arrest as, a shame. In fact, it's almost making a mockery of the whole system at this point.
No, but Audrey, even a blind man knows that this is vendetta against Emefiele. Even the deaf hears that this is vendetta against Emefiele. The president gave himself out. He went to a foreign country and he called the CBN rotten. And he had pretty much made his point known as regards this. We all know the speech of Wagbe Naira Pamo and all of that. And the vendetta was so strong that when they tried doing this last year, the court rebuffed the DSS. But once President Tinubu was sworn in and they got their chance, we all remember the calisthenics that happened. How they used a private jet to go carry Emefiele from Lagos, bundled him and all of that with our own taxpayers' money, only for us to see the charge sheets. But they've kept him there for a long month. They've ransacked his homes.
Allegedly, I heard it was about 300,000 naira.
Yeah, so they've ransacked his homes. I mean, if they found something incriminating, they should be able to put it on the charge sheet after a month. But you see, I said something earlier on, and I think I need to break it down. It's either we are trying to build a funny democracy, a democracy that is a joke to the world because there's no respect for rule of law, or we are trying to build a phony democracy, which is a fake democracy, which is a pseudo democracy, which is militarism. And that's why you see that they are making arguments they are not balanced. Look at the non-state actor brandishing a weapon.
Exactly, that's the point.
Right there, look at the non-state actor brandishing a weapon.
Yes. And nothing
Should anybody, and the DSS have not been able to do anything. But why would you blame him? Because this non-state actor also goes ahead to claim that he's so important that the president invited him. So when the president invited non-state actors, and right there at the villa, he came to take a swipe at the military of this country, and nothing has been done to him. So when I said earlier on that some people are bigger than the law in this country, I've been proven right. He took a swipe at the military, a very respectable institution, but there were no consequences. Brandishing a gun on live video, there was, I think somebody even wrote a petition as regards this. Nothing.
Right.
So we see how our country is playing out. And I ask again, do we want a funny democracy? Because all of this, the world is looking at us and laughing. This is the Nigeria that wants to be the giant of Africa. Or a phony democracy. And when I mean a phony democracy, a democracy that it's only in name, but the cardinal point of a democracy, which is the respect for the rule of law and the fact that the leaders can restrain themselves from their own personal interest, is no longer the order of the day. So I submit to Nigerians this morning, what kind of democracy do we want?
Well said, Rufai. We'll take another story. On his first homecoming as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas said that the 10th National Assembly would create a constitutional role for traditional rulers in the country. The Speaker, who stated this when he paid homage to the Emir of Zaria, Ambassador Ahmed Bamali, in Kaduna State over the weekend, was ushered into the palace with a colorful durbar. The Speaker further stated that the majority of members of the current House of Representatives understood the importance of the traditional institution in the country, and that he recognizes a paper that was presented by Traditional Rulers Council across the 6 geopolitical zones in 2020, where they clearly stated how they want the traditional institutions to function in this present dispensation. Well, in the same vein, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka over the weekend called on the federal government to declare a national public holiday for traditionalists in the country. He made the declaration on his 89th birthday celebration. Soyinka said traditionalists had been neglected for too long in the nation, and that it is high time that they get their recognition, adding that traditional religions deserve annual holidays like Islam and Christianity.
It's about time we demanded, on behalf of traditional religions, an annual holiday like Islam and Christianity. We've had enough. We had enough of being second-class citizens in this nation. So, equal time, equal space, we demand public holidays. We demand it of state governments, local governments, and the federal government. We want an annual public holiday.
Annual holiday for traditionalists. Dr. Abati, both stories.
Quickly, because we're running out of time. Number one, Professor Wole Soyinka, what he's saying there should be placed in proper perspective. You recall that recently in Ilorin, there was a lady, Madame Omolara, who wanted to lead the Isheshe traditional festival. And then people went and attacked her. They threatened her. And they said, look, you can't do a traditional festival. The Isheshe festival is for the worship of Oshun. You know, because they say this is Ilorin. And that on the orders of the Emir of Ilorin, His Royal Majesty.
Really? So there's a state religion in areas of Nigeria?
Well, so they claim. They use the name of the Emir.
Wow.
So they intimidated the woman, and Professor Soyinka came to our rescue. He now wrote a direct note to the Emir of Ilorin, Sulu Gambari, and it was a very scathing piece, you know, about Sulu Gambari. You are not omniscient, you are not omnipresent, something like that, which was widely published. Now, on the occasion of the public presentation of his latest book, Selected Poems, 1965 to 2022, a retrospective, he then made this same point, that look, in fact, traditional worshippers, religion worshippers, should even be allowed to have their own national holiday. This is the context. If Christians can have, if Muslims can have, then traditional religionists should also be given a national holiday when they want to celebrate. After all, Section 38 of the Constitution recognizes the freedom of thought, religion, and conscience. And the subsequent section recognizes the freedom of assembly. And Section 42 says you can't discriminate against people. So he's making a point about rights. So he repeated the point. And then he went a step further. He said you are stopping traditional religion worshippers. How about the architects of violence? How about ISWAP? How about Boko Haram? And that, look, what we hear from the security people is that files are always disappearing. Those ones are not prosecuted. The people who want to practice their own religion, they are the ones you want to intimidate. So he called it 3 demands from the House of the Muse. That was what he called it. So that's the context in that particular regard. As for traditional rulers playing a role, they used to play a role. The Lancaster Conference in London in 1957, I mean, there was a delegation of traditional rulers that were there. Traditional rulers from different parts of Nigeria. They were part of the negotiations. Under the 1963 Constitution and the regional constitutions, we had House of Chiefs. In fact, some of the traditional rulers were even governors. Alhaji Muhammad Sanusi, Emir of Kano, at the time was acting governor of northern Nigeria. Sade Soji Aderemi was governor of the western region. But you see, after 1966, Unitary Decree 1 of 1966, all of these were abolished. So since then, people have been demanding, many of these traditional rulers, they are retired ambassadors, educated people, that they have a role to play. So that's what the Speaker of the House was alluding to. The form it will take will be a matter for public debate.
Well, all right. Well, thank you all for your great analysis on what's trending today. Well, that's all I have for you on what's trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.